Hello, welcome to the EPG Pathshala program in Linguistics. I am Pramod Pandey, Professor, Center for Linguistics, Jawaharlal Nehru University. I am the principal investigator of this project. We are now going to listen to the discussion of a module from the paper Introduction to Pragmatics and Discourse Analysis. The coordinators of the course are Professor Imtiaz Hasnan, Department of Linguistics, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, and Professor Rajneesh Arora, English and Foreign Languages University, Lucknow campus. The title of the module is Deixis II, and the authors are Professor Rajneesh Arora and Ms. Spriha Agrawal.
Deixis is integral to the study of pragmatics, which focuses on interpretation of meaning. The basic meaning of words in a language is shared among its users, which facilitates mutual intelligibility among all its users. As we have discussed in the previous module, the interpretation of some words depends both on the knowledge of the language users and the context in which it is used. The situational context refers to the interlocutor's knowledge of who the speaker is, who the hearer is, the time of utterance and the place of utterance, while background knowledge refers to their knowledge about one another and about the world. So in this module, we'll look at the social deixis, discourse deixis, gestural and symbolic deixis, and various types of deictic and non-deictic usage. First, we'll try to understand the concept of social deixis. Social deixis encodes information about the relative social status of the speaker with respect to the addressee or the hearer. So, social deixis encodes information about the relative social status of the speaker with respect to the addressee or the hearer. Based on various factors such as age, sex, social class, etc., social deixis is exhibited in choices between lexical items such as pronouns and vocatives. Apart from these, social deixis is also manifested through particles and prosody, and this may depend on languages. It doesn't mean that in every language social deixis is manifested through particles and prosody, but it depends on language. For example, in Tamil, social deixis is manifested through particles. According to Levinson, there are two kinds of social deixis. They are relational and absolute. So the two kinds of social deixis are relational deixis and absolute deixis. The relational deixis encodes the speaker's relationship with the referent, which is manifested in referent honorifics, and then it encodes the speaker's relationship with the addressee, the bystander, and the setting. Now, the relationship between the addressee is manifested in addressee honorifics, and the relationship with the bystander is manifested in the bystander honorifics, and the speaker's relationship with the setting is manifested in levels of formality. Referent honorifics involve the expression of honor while referring to the addressee by making a choice between pronouns. For example, in Hindi we have tum and aap. So what happens is tum is used while addressing a friend or someone belonging to a lower status, and aap is used to address someone by giving them respect. So this system of pronouns is present in some Indo-European languages such as French, German and Spanish. In modern Spain, where age distinction is more powerful than economic status distinction, the younger person belonging to a higher economic status will be addressed by the tum form by an older person belonging to a lower economic status. The choice between the pronouns is also governed by the setting in which the interlocutors communicate. In a formal setting, the use of the up alternative is appropriate and signifies interpersonal distance or non-familiarity between the speaker and addressee. In an informal setting, however, the tum alternative is used to signify close relationship or solidarity between the speaker and the addressee. The choice between the first names and addressing someone as Mr. plus their surname in informal and formal settings respectively also signifies the relational social dexis. Addressee honorifics involve the expression of honor or respect for the addressee by choosing appropriate language alternates without referring to the addressee. For example, using an alternate term for the word soup when somebody wants to say the soup is hot would reflect respect for the addressee. Bystander honorifics, on the other hand, involve the use of alternate vocabularies in presence of taboo relatives in many cultures. Relational dexis also encodes information about the speaker's relationship with the addressee. Absolute social dexis, however, locates addressees in relation to their roles in society. It is manifested in the use of certain words reserved for authorized speakers and authorized recipients. Next we have discourse dexis. Discourse dexis is also text dexis and can be used in language to draw the reader's or the hearer's attention to specific portions of discourse. So lexical items such as this, that, and hereby encode dexis and point to elements before or after discourse, whereas anaphoric words point to words already used in the context. Discourse deictics point to elements of discourse. Now the word this points to future discourse elements, as in, for example, before you begin a story, you might say, listen to this. So the this in this particular sentence points to future discourse elements. And now let's take another example. Let's say in response to something, you would say, that was right. And here in this sentence, the word that points to past discourse elements. And the word hereby in a performative utterance points at the speech act of utterance. Now to understand it better, let's look at a conversation between two people, A and B. So the person A says, oh, look at that Bayview Hotel over there. That's a hotel where Judy is having her reception. And B responds, oh right, yeah. Again, person A says, and if I don't lose enough weight, I won't be there. To which the person B responds, that's a lie. So here, let's look at the last sentence, which is that's a lie. Here the word that points to person A's intended message that she is fat. It does not point anaphorically to any noun form used in the text before. Discourse dexis manifested in signposts such as first, second, next, finally, etc. are deictic markers used by lecturers in classroom to point to the future discourse elements at each stage. Similarly, words such as above and below are used deictically in written discourse for pointing. According to Levinson, utterance initial items such as but, therefore, in conclusion, to the contrary, still, well, however, besides, anyway, so, etc. are also deictic in nature as they point to previous elements in discourse and require the reader's knowledge of those elements. So they are deictic. These particular words are deictic in nature because they point to previous elements in discourse and require the reader's knowledge of those elements. Next we have gestural and symbolic deixis. Sometimes deictics require extra linguistic information from the speaker in order to be understood in a context. For example, if the speaker says, he's standing right there, the addressee will normally not be able to understand what the word there refers to and may question back where. Undoubtedly, there, the word there has the deictic feature of pointing to a place in the physical context. However, it will not be able to point out a referent unless it is also accompanied by extra linguistic information in form of body gestures, hand movement or eye movement by the speaker in the direction of the place he or she is referring to by the word there. Thus, a deictic use can be classified as either gestural or symbolic. As the term suggests, gestural usages of deictics are interpreted with reference to an audio-visual, tactile, and in general physical monitoring of the speech event. Symbolic usages of deictics, however, require for their interpretation only knowledge of the basic spatio-temporal parameters of the speech event. Now let's check out another set of sentences which can only be interpreted if we know the general location of the participant or the potential addressee and the time of utterance. I'll explain on it. Now let's just see the sentences. So we have I like this city. You can wait for me. I will call the lawyer tomorrow. The doctor will now examine each of us. So in each of the sentences we have one particular word which has a deictic reference. And in the first sentence, I like this city, we have the word this. In the second sentence, we are looking at the word you. And in the third sentence, we have tomorrow. And the fourth sentence, we have now. So all these sentences with these words can be interpreted only if we know the general location of the participant, the potential addressee, and the time of utterance. On the contrary, we have another set of sentences which will require audio, visual, and tactile gestures, and not just the general understanding of the location or the time of the utterance. For example, let's see the sentence. Don't do it now, but now. I like that dress. This finger hurts. You and you may come with me. What's the price of this pen? So in these sentences, let's just take the sentence, I like that dress. So when you're trying to explain or when you're saying this particular sentence, you might possibly be pointing to a dress in the market, let's say. So, or let's take the sentence, this finger hurts. While you utter this particular sentence, you might actually be pointing your hand, pointing towards this finger which is actually hurting. So all these particular utterances, so as to understood, will require audio, visual, and tactile gestures. Thus, the different usages of deictic terms can be classified as deictic and non-deictic. So the deictic includes gestural or symbolic, and the non-deictic includes non-anaphoric and anaphoric. We'll now look at the non-deictic usages of some of the above deictic terms and thereby learn to differentiate between their deictic and non-deictic usages. Deictic words such as personal pronouns, demonstrative determinants, and adverbs of space and time can be used both deictically and non-deictically. We'll try to understand this with the help of some examples. The pronoun you can be used deictically and non-deictically. Let's say, let's just check out the sentence. Could you lend me a pen? And the next sentence is, you learn a language better if you both watch movies and listen to songs in that language. So here in the first sentence, that is, could you lend me a pen, the personal pronoun you is used deictically. And in the second sentence, the personal pronoun you is used in a non-deictic way. So what happens is, in the first sentence, you points to a participant in conversation, that is the addressee, and is therefore deictic. However, in the second sentence, the personal pronoun you refers to people in general and can be rephrased as the indefinite pronoun one and is therefore non-deictic. Then we have demonstratives. Demonstratives have multiple usages, both deictic and non-deictic. We have already discussed how they can be used as gestural, symbolic, and discourse deictics. Now we'll look at a set of sentences so as to understand their non-deictic usages. The first sentence is, where are the keys that were kept on the table? Second sentence, she told me that the train leaves at 7 in the morning. Third, it is not that bad. Fourth, do you remember that month when it rained so heavily? Next, the policeman entered the room. This man was really hardworking and honest. So here we are looking at the particular word that and this. So these are the demonstratives, and we are trying to show their various uses, both deictic and non-deictic. So here in the first sentence, where are the keys that were kept on the table? In this particular sentence, the word that is a relative pronoun. Next we have, she told me that the train leaves at 7 in the morning. In this sentence, the word that functions as a complementizer. Next we have, it is not that bad. Here the word that is a stance adverbial. And in the sentence, do you remember that month when it rained so heavily? Here the word that is a recognitional agent. And then we have the sentence, the policeman entered the room. This man was really hardworking and honest. Here in this particular sentence, the demonstrative this gives an anaphoric reference. We have already seen how adverbs are used deictically. Now let's take another set of sentences so that we'll see the non-deictic function of adverbs now and there. We have two sentences here. The first sentence is, now if they get to know that they are being observed, they'll become conscious of their behavior. Now if they get to know that they are being observed, they'll become conscious of their behavior. The next sentence is, there was nobody there. Generally, now refers to the moment of utterance. However, in this particular sentence, the word now functions as a discourse marker used to introduce something in contrast with what has just been said before. Similarly, the word there in the sentence, there was nobody there. The word there that begins the sentence is non-deictic, as is devoid of the adverbial meaning and is used as an existential subject. So the word there that ends the utterance, however, carries the adverbial sense and is therefore deictic. So in the second sentence, there was nobody there, we have the word there twice. One begins the sentence and one ends the sentence. So here the word there that begins the sentence is non-deictic, as is devoid of the adverbial meaning, and since it is used as an existential subject, it is non-deictic. However, the word there, which is used to end the sentence, that is, there was nobody there, the second there, which ends the utterance, carries the adverbial sense and is therefore deictic.
Summary. So we have seen that this module pointed at how the phenomenon of deixis is exhibited in discourse and how it encodes referential information about people involved in conversation, the social relations between them, and the time and place of conversation. We also discussed the symbolic and gestural deictics and the non-deictic usage of deictic terms. Hope you will have had time to look into the analyses of the texts using deixis, and that you will go to the exercises and develop an insight into the methods of analysis of deixis in given linguistic texts. Thank you.